Hello, newpers. I would like to introduce you all to Marcus from Brightview. Marcus and I have been working on a project for a while, one of our landscaping projects. It's in Veneta, and continually we run into challenges with irrigation. It's not just at this one association, it's every association. And irrigation is almost like the Black Phantom box.
It is.
It impacts everything. It impacts, obviously, turf and all of that as well. But there's, components to it that are electrical. There's components, obviously, that are water. So we kind of wanted to have a discussion and talk about irrigation from a high level and kind of work our way down. So in my mind, when I think about irrigation, at least for our associations, I think about two types of irrigation usually. One is the more commercial type system. And sometimes folks are calling that a two-wire system. I'm assuming there's other ones other than two-wire. So we'll talk about that. And then there's the residential, which is some of our HOAs. Ironically, one of the properties we work on together is an HOA that has a commercial system, but some of our HOAs have timers on every single home as well. So let's first start about the commercial side of things. So I oftentimes hear two-wire. What does that mean?
So two-wire is a really good irrigation situation you can get yourself into. It's good and bad, right? Two-wire is very, very good with tracking, very good with communication with controllers, with decoders, solenoids, and everything to make your irrigation system work. Now the problem with two-wire is a lot of people don't bury them correctly. They don't put them in conduit. And when you have when you're tracking two-wire and you have to track it and find the cuts and find the nicks, whatever's causing the system to fail, very time consuming. But all in all, I think it's a very good system. You were talking about controllers on homes. We find that a lot, and there's good and bad to that too, because a lot of homeowners will go out there and turn their irrigation system on and do it themselves, and that's like a big no-no because we spend our time programming these systems to go at a certain time in a certain area. When homeowners come out and inspect that by manually doing it, it kind of screws up the situation. But in this time of the year we're in right now, Adoni, is very, very situational with irrigation because we're having some cold snaps, we're having some rain, we're not having some rain. So it's a back and forth. It's like a plate chess with the irrigation system to make it work on your property.
So I think more people are probably familiar with the residential type because most people have, not most people, but a lot of people have had it on the side of their house.
Sure.
And I have one on my house. It's a little box. It's on the side of the house. And it has some wires that run out to it. It has power that goes in. It has some wires that run out of it. It has a couple wires that run to a rain sensor. And the rest of the wires run down to these valves. And then the valves somehow turn on and off. I don't really know. On the commercial system, my understanding of it is it's like a really big one of those. Like there's a clock that controls, instead of, like on my house, I think I have 3 or 4 zones. It controls, how many zones can a clock control on a two-wire system?
I mean, as many as you want. You can get a clock that holds 32, 16, 8. It depends on how many zones you got. So you're right. Commercial is one big lick. It's just one big box, and you're there, and you can control everything. But with, like you said, with two-wire and residential, you got decoders that communicate with the computers. The clocks tell it when to turn on.
So what's a decoder?
So a decoder,
other than something that all I know is decoders get hit by lightning and they die.
So I'll give you a good example. So a decoder, say you are a computer programmer, and you talk to a computer. You don't talk to a computer like we do. You talk in code. So the decoder is what translates the clock to the system to make it run and not run. If that decoder is not working, the clock can't transmit to it and it won't come on. So decoder is really huge.
So when you have a clock on a commercial system and you have a two-wire system, there's a wire coming out of the clock. And that wire runs to all of the decoders or just directly to decoders?
On a commercial system, yes.
So on a commercial system, it runs to all the decoders?
It runs to all of them. It's all in one, like it's one bundle. Yeah.
So you could have 64 decoders.
Correct.
And it's 2 wires that are connecting all the 64 decoders to the clock.
Correct.
Are they connected in series or in parallel?
Parallel.
Okay. So, we're questioning which one is parallel.
Let me call my irrigation manager real quick.
Well, because what I'm wondering is it like, the clock, let's say that these are our 3 decoders, or this is our clock and here's 2 decoders.
Yep.
The clock runs to this decoder, and then there's this decoder connected. So are they all connected?
They're all connected, yeah. So that goes back to tracking the 2-wire when you have a problem, right? You're tracking wire, you're trying to find out what is not connected, what is connected, what may have a nick in it, a cut in it, and it's very difficult because you have to trench it up, you have to find the wire that's buried, and that's why I was telling you about conduit. Conduit is so important, but it's so expensive. to wrap that wire in conduit. A lot of people just say bury it, and that's not a good idea. You want to wrap it in conduit to prevent those tracking problems you're going to have.
So when you encounter most installations, are most installations in conduit, or are most installations not in conduit, or is it a combination of the two?
A lot of them aren't.
Because it's just low voltage, so they figure they can just bury it?
It's really budgetary. So you go in. We just did about a $600,000 install at Boardwalk Caper in Cape Coral, North Fort Myers, and they decided to put conduit in it. But the price to put conduit without conduit is very, very substantial.
So what does a decoder look like?
It's like a little box. I don't know. It's like a hockey puck.
And is it buried underground, or?
It could be in the boxes. It could be buried. It could be at the clock. It depends on what system you're on. On a Rainbird. Hoover's actually starting to get into the game and doing irrigation systems. I don't know if you heard about that. That's brand new.
The vacuum cleaner company?
No, Hoover pumps.
Oh, Hoover pumps.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was like,
Kirby's, Hoover's, yeah. So the Reflection Lake's the property of mine, and Hoover's actually installing their own system in there. And I told them, I said, look, I've never seen that in a property before. So do your due diligence, do some background, find some properties besides they had it in. They did, and they're doing training with us, and they install it. So something new they're coming out with, and it seems to be pretty good. So Rainbird and Hunter may have a problem.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the decoder then, so is it one decoder for every, so there's valves, right?
Correct.
Sometimes we call them solenoids.
It's for every zone.
For every zone.
Correct. So say
So a zone, but a zone is a valve, right?
A zone is a valve, and it could have 6 houses, 4 houses, 3 houses, 12 houses.
Okay.
Whatever that zone is connected to, that decoder controls it. And each box has a solenoid that allows the decoder to translate to it. So the solenoid comes into play, the decoder comes into play, the clock comes into play. In my opinion, irrigation and agronomy go hand in hand. The way I run my branches, I found 2 agronomy guys who are really good, and I trained 1 in irrigation. Because without agronomy, irrigation is not good. Without irrigation, agronomy is not good. So it's without either one of those 2 aspects, the trimming, the pruning, the cutting grass, the bed edging does not work. You got to have irrigation. You got to have agronomy, especially in Southwest Florida, where we're almost on the equator. It could be 98 degrees for a week, and then 3 days later, it rains 16 inches. So these plants and stuff go into shock big time. You have to combat that with irrigation and agronomy to make it work.
So one of the, so we've talked about the decoder, we've talked about the zones. Mm-hmm. So zones are controlled by valves. So one valve that opens up and it turns the water on for a zone.
Correct.
The reason we don't run all the zones at once is there's not enough water pressure.
Not enough pressure. Right.
So we have to have so many zones on at a time. We can't have too many zones on at once. How does this might be a question for your irrigation expert. Maybe we should have gotten your irrigation manager in here. So how does a valve open? Because sometimes I hear about valves getting stuck or something.
Yeah, so valves open from pressure. Valves get stuck. This is a very common thing if you don't have a good filtration system in your pond. This time of the year, our lakes are low, so it's pulling up muck, gunk, mollusks, shells, and that's what causes a stuck valve. You got debris flowing through the line. The valve's trying to close, it can't because you got a rock, you got shells.
So when a valve sticks, it usually is sticking open.
Correct.
It doesn't normally stick closed?
Doesn't normally stick closed.
Okay. And that's when we see, we call it in our in-house, we call it like the runaway zone. It's like the zone that just has stayed on for, the people wake up and water's running.
That's right.
And that would constitute something that we do consider an emergency, and we do want to make all of our landscapers aware of when it happens.
100%.
Now, one of the things that usually we don't consider an emergency on our end, but interestingly enough, you were involved in one of these maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had a sprinkler head that had broken. Mm-hmm. And so the system turned on for that one section, and the sprinkler head just ran a geyser. Mm-hmm. But it was at a residential community. So, I mean, it was probably not 30 PSI. It was probably a little higher than that because it was their irrigation system. But, it created a geyser. That will shut off on its own.
Yes.
And so normally we don't treat that as an emergency.
No.
We treat that as something we're going to have fixed at the next day or something like that. Because it should turn off. Now, if it doesn't turn off and it's actually a stuck valve, then we need to notify you.
To your point, the reason why we define that an emergency when water running and not an emergency when it's not running is because every property has allocations. You can't just run this environmental protection for your pond, for the wildlife that's in there. Collier County monitors, as you know, they ride through properties all the time, monitoring meters, and they will hand out some heavy fines if you go over those allocations. So running water is very emergency important, that basis, off allocation.
And we do want to always have that shut down.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about just a broken head, though, so
that's
the head that comes up and it's just spewing water, which it will spew for whatever the run time is. Might be 30 minutes, it might be 45 minutes, might be 15 minutes. There's also a concern that that's wasting a lot of water. Now, I have, in my mind, I go back and forth on it, and here's why. My bigger concern than wasting water with it not running is those heads, those sprinkler heads, they need so much pressure to pop up.
Right.
So when one of them is broken, the rest of them don't pop up. And so the water is just coming out there.
That's right.
I would think it's probably close to the same actual usage.
It is.
Because it's designed to have all that water just coming out of multiple heads. The difference is we're concentrating it in one area.
That's right.
But we're only really concentrating it there for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So it's kind of like you just left your hose running.
Correct.
So that would be why it's not an emergency. So when we do have a broken head, we want to get it fixed because the rest of the yard needs it.
Yes.
But it is going to turn itself off. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, we don't need to call you.
Correct. Please don't.
Well, we did, I think actually.
That's what we're saying. That's right.
And sometimes that's difficult. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I call it the fog of war. It's hard for us to know.
Yep.
Because all we know is that there's water erupting in the front of the yard, and we think it might be a mainline break.
That's right.
And if it's a mainline break, we definitely want you involved, like, immediately.
ASAP.
Yeah, we want to shut down pumps.
Isolate
That's a big deal. But if it's after the valve, and it's just a broken head and not a stuck valve, not an emergency. Stuck valve is an emergency. Mainline break is an emergency. So a main line, I believe, is just any line that is always pressurized, right?
Correct.
So a main line is always getting pressure. We were having a conversation a little while back. It was another group that we were in here talking. We were talking about water emergencies. We were talking about water hammer. And so what we're sometimes seeing is we've had main lines that are breaking because of the rapidity of how quickly the water is turned on and off to the main line.
Okay.
So what will happen is a main line will get fixed. There'll be a main line break, it shuts out, they fix it, and they turn the line on and they turn it on fast. We end up with a break somewhere else, and we're chasing main line breaks. It's like a cascade.
Yeah.
So that's
so what would you do in that? How would you turn it? Would you turn it on slower? Would you gradually let the water build up? Or?
So what I've been advised on is, and this is just for this one particular property, their golf course pumps power their houses as well.
Yep.
So they actually have pressure reduction valves for a lot of it because the golf course I think runs like 100 psi.
Oh yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, when main lines break at the golf course, I mean, you will hurt somebody.
100%.
It's, what they do is they actually open valves for the system on one part, and then they slowly power up. And the pump is a variable pump, and so then they just slowly power the pump up. They have valves that are open, and so instead of just turning the pump on and then opening the valves up, they actually power up the pump. I think we've kind of talked a good bit about commercial irrigation. Is there anything I'm forgetting to go over on that?
No. I mean, irrigation systems are one and the same, so to speak. Commercial to residential, it's just a bigger format to a smaller format. That's all.
And I mean, there's probably some minor differences in the valves. There's the big differences, the decoder and the clock. But you've got valves. Another thing that's common is going to be rain sensors.
Oh, yeah.
So, can you describe a rain sensor?
It is a little piece of plastic with a cork that gets heavy with water and allows your irrigation system to shut off when it's raining. And it's very important to have a rain sensor, especially where we live in Southwest Florida with the rainy season, because you're going to dial back. You're going to do seasonal adjustments, right? Like in the rainy season, you may do 50%. Dry season, you may crank it up to 100%, like we were talking about, 20, 30 minutes of run time. But if you don't have the rain sensor, you definitely don't want to be a landscape company that manages your irrigation and see irrigation running when it's pouring rain for 2 days straight. Again, we're talking about allocation. Rain sensors are very important for allocations for properties. And if people think rain sensors maybe they don't know anything about rain sensors, maybe some intricate thing in a land. No, it's not. It just sits up there with a cork. The cork gets heavy with water, it drops down, shuts your irrigation system off, and it dries out, it cuts it back on. So yeah, rain sensors to me are very, very integral in a really good irrigation system.
So, and rain sensors, same in commercial and residential.
Yeah.
Now, my home irrigation, and I know a number of commercial ones have this as well, is connected to the internet. And so it's supposed to guess if I'm going to get rain or not. And so in addition to its rain sensor, you're looking surprised. By the way, this was $40 on Amazon, maybe? It was a very cheap clock. It's worked for 2 years. I'm happy with it.
You just stole my thunder because I was going to say, you're a CEO. You probably got $1 million system over there.
I think, I can look it up right now. Let me see how much it was.
$40 connects to your internet? What's it do? Like go to your weather channels and stuff and see what radar? And...
if I can find this little guy right here.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was very inexpensive. So what happened was I went to Home Depot to get a clock. So here's how much it was. Smart irrigation controller, Wi-Fi enabled, $39.99.
Impressive. Now the question is, does it work?
It's worked for 2 years.
Wow.
And it does have a connection to the rain sensor. My problem with the rain sensor was twofold. For anyone who knows me, my house tends to get flooded and nailed every time there's a hurricane. I always lose my rain sensor. It's just gone.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit cheap plastic thing.
So it rips it off, and then But that's the least of my worries because half the time the valves in my house don't work anymore because they've been under salt water for whatever period of time because there's been storm surge. So I was redoing the irrigation, and I found this thing online. I put it in about 2 years ago. It doesn't need a rain sensor, even though it does have the output for it. It uses satellite weather to know if you're getting rain at your house or not. And then, I don't even know if I can pull this up on here or not. It tells you, if it thinks that you're going to have rain, if it should skip, all of that kind of stuff.
So it works good. It guesses that good.
I mean, my yard's alive.
Well, yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking is because, rain here is like, you could drive down Collier Boulevard, right? Storming, and then a mile later it's sunshine and storming again. Yeah,
and I think that would probably be, a problem with it. In my case, I haven't really tested it. It shuts down sometimes. The yard's alive.
Now, how hard was it to install?
I did it myself. It was just a matter. You have a box that you screw on the wall, so the wires that came out through it are, there's a common, the ground, and then there's each one of the valves. Like I said, there's only 3 or 4 valves, so you used to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
It was like red, white wires or something like that.
Yeah, red, white, green, blue, something like that. So I think the white one was the common. This was 2 years ago. I at the moment I can't remember if I put Splenda in my coffee or if this is.
That's right.
If I'm trying the Trivia something. We got something in a green packet I was supposed to be trying, so I can't remember that, much less the colors of the wires.
Well, that's cool, man. I think I've heard of that before, but not to that detail. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's $40.
But in this world today, look what they're doing. I had to get off the subject a little bit. I had a drone flight. Did a drone flight in Napier Reserve, one of my properties. The guy comes in. I meet him on a Saturday, and long story short, I show him what I won't film. Calls me that night. He says, "Give me 20 to 25 words. Text them to me about the property." So I text him the streets, the property, clubhouse, pool areas, and common verbiage. He sends it back with some guy talking in an Australian accent, flying over the property, and he puts together this whole. So AI is just, with
AI
technology is absolutely
crazy.
insane. It's insane.
So it's funny. So we're sitting here doing this kind of podcast format, and we're doing it for a couple of reasons. One, so at Newell, letting out Newell secrets, but newpers hopefully know this by now. We have, I call them projects. So I have all these code names for projects. So this is Project Podful.
Okay.
The idea was to start using a podcast type format. And the reason for it was twofold. One, we still own it. We bought an AI system that I could feed information into, and we could put together classes for Newell Academy. And there's still a number of classes on there, and I think they're very useful. But the person who was operating this, they were able to make it look like me. So you take voice samples, you say a bunch of stuff, it videos you, and it created this AI avatar that was Adoni saying stuff. And I had this realization, I'm like, this could go really bad, really, really fast. So we're going to delete this, we're taking it offline, and we're going to go to the only way we do this is, Adoni actually, doing this, because, who knows what Adoni's going to say, AI Adoni,
It's absolutely unbelievable what they can do now.
But back to irrigation.
Yeah.
So on the home side, we've got the rain sensors.
Sure.
And we have it connected to a clock. But the big difference would be that the clocks are not interconnected between the homes, correct? So the theory there is you can't, I guess what's the advantage to it in my mind would be it's distributed.
Mm-hmm.
So if one clock goes out, you're not going to lose, so like, I try not to use the names of associations we manage, but we both know the association that I'm going to be talking about because we're on it together. We had an association that if they were to lose a clock, it would probably take out, there's 3 clocks out there?
Yeah, that's a problem.
So 1/3 of the association would be without irrigation until we got that clock fixed.
That's right. You make a very good point.
Whereas with the residential side, I think there's like 200 something units out there. If we were to lose 1 clock, 207 would work, 1 wouldn't.
That's right.
What's the advantage to the commercial 2-wire system then?
Well, the commercial 2-wire being the 3 clocks or the
like what we have at the association that we're thinking about in our head. What's the advantage to having that?
I mean, if there is an advantage, I mean, I think, like you just said, I mean, I have properties, again, not naming names or anything, but I have properties that have clocks on every home. I have properties that have clocks just for each zone. And that's a very huge benefit. Like you said, it's a rush, freak out moment if you have a clock that covers 1/3 of your property because you're losing irrigation on all those properties. So I think the benefit would be isolating those areas to as small as you can. If you have 3 clocks on a property, that's a problem. You need to update your irrigation system, in my opinion.
So we should have more clocks there?
Yes. If I guess you could go back to the history of the property and say, okay, how many times has this happened? How fast has it been rectified, and what do we lose in the process?
So with that particular property, it's rare that we've lost a clock, and clock replacements seem to be very quick.
Yes.
The issue we've had out there was more pump related.
Yes.
And they have 3 pumps total, I think.
Yes.
They have a well pump and 2 lake pumps.
Correct. That's a good point. I was going to bring that up too. You're only as good as your pump. Whoever's managing your pumps and everything. Most landscape providers don't manage pumps. Most properties have their own people like Hoover or whoever come in and work on your pumps. Metro works on pumps on one of my properties. So, yeah, pumps are huge too. Without a good pump, another property of mine, huge, well-known property in Naples, is a mess right now. Their pumps. They only have 15-gallon pumps. They need bigger pumps. They're not submerged. They're kind of sitting up, and they're losing the foundation, so they're tilting. So a lot of people don't want to hear this, but you better budget every 20 years to 25 years to put about $1 million plus into the irrigation system and revamp it. Pipes get brittle, pipes break. A lot of people think that irrigation systems are going to run forever. Just change the heads now. Everything underground is getting old and worn out. It's plastic. So it's very, very important to put money aside for irrigation, and properties that don't do that are panicking right now, taking loans out, trying to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's expensive. The property I'm referring to, the landscape side of it is 1.3, 1.4 million. The irrigation system install is 2.8 million.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
Irrigation also impacts everything. So besides,
Everything.
We kind of talked about the technical side of commercial and home irrigation, but it does impact, like with agronomy, it impacts all of that.
Yes.
Can you go through a little bit of that? Whether it's too much or too little, it's all about finding the Goldilocks zone, right? Because
That's
if we
right.
water too much, it's bad. If we don't water enough, it's bad. And it depends on the type of turf, whether it's zoysia or Floritan, whatever.
That's right. And it's to find a good irrigation manager that knows that they don't fall off trees. In my opinion, you bring someone with some experience, you train them to be that guy. Based off who they are, based off how much they care, based off their work ethic. But you're right. It's without irrigation, we have nothing. And where we live, I just said this a few minutes ago, it rains 3 days, it's 98 degrees for 2 weeks. It rains for 4 days, 98 degrees for 3 days, rains 2 days. So it's back and forth. It's a back and forth play. And agronomy can help irrigation, and irrigation can hurt agronomy and vice versa. For instance, putting fertilizer down, and we're in the middle of summer, and we don't have rain for 2 weeks. You better crank the irrigation up 20 minutes, because that fertilizer will burn that turf off, but if we don't put water on it. So it goes hand in hand. And like I said earlier, no matter what we do, no matter how good we communicate, no matter how good we're partners with you guys, if irrigation and agronomy are on point, the trimmings, the meetings, the town halls, it means nothing. These are all living things we're dealing with. They're just like us. They all have life expectancies. They all need certain things to grow and live and survive, and water is a main part of that.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything that you think that we've missed that we should touch on?
Next time you call me for a podcast, let me bring my manager on the
We can do that.
I would really appreciate that. No, it's I love working for you guys. You guys have always been great partners with Brightview, and we appreciate the time being on your podcast.
Well, thank you very much.
Or PeopleCast. What are you calling it? What's your code word?
Well, Pod. That's
Pod
the Pod People is our
Pod People. I love it.
Our little code name for it.
I
don't think we've ever said that outside of Newell. So
when you got code names for projects, you got a lot going on, which is a good thing for Adoni. So
really?
Oh yeah. When you got a code name stuff to remember, you got a lot of stuff going on, man.
I guess.
If you just have one podcast, we're gonna call it a podcast, right?
Yeah, I like the code names because it just engages me more.
Yeah.
Project Nighthawk, Project Pod People, all that kind of stuff.
That's cool, man.
So.
There's some that are out there that are the biggest in the United States. There's some out there that are the biggest in Southwest Florida, and you guys define the definition of a partnership. And
thank you.
Yeah, and it's all about. It's not about jumping on someone and firing someone and trying to find someone else. It's just the vendor want to work with you, and if they want to work with you, you keep the vendor around because that's hard to find these days. And you guys do a phenomenal job with that. We really appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys checking us out, and hope you have a great week.